This eternal torment has just been part of our society for a long time. The entire Western culture it's ingrained in it. It may have started as a church teaching, but you see it now in all types of media. You see it in music, you see it in movies, TV shows, even cartoons, animated shows for children. There will be some sort of depiction of this fiery pit with a devil and, maybe horns and a pitchfork type of thing. It's everywhere. In fact, I've recently been off work for a surgery I had, and I've watched probably too much TV, more than I should have. And I've even picked up on just some of these shows that I've watched. For example, one was a science fiction show, and you had two aliens talking with each other, and one says to the other, "I hope that you burn in hell." Thinking, why would aliens have that same, type of thought process? They don't, right? It's Western culture wrote that into that script. Another one that I saw is kind of a post-apocalyptic dystopian show, and they don't really talk specifically about hell, but just the way the characters act and the way they treat each other and the way they talk, you can tell it's with that mindset of this eternal inferno that people are just going to go to and burn in hell. It's in bands. We've seen this in my entire life. The first one that really comes to mind to me is AC/DC. They have an album that's titled Highway to Hell. And then in fact, the cover of the album shows the guitarist kind of like with horns, and you see a little tail coming up behind him like he's the devil. But that, and it's not just in the visual aspect of it, it'll be in the lyrical content as well. But the part that I think that people sometimes don't think about why it still is in Western culture is because of our capitalistic society. It sells. This idea of, I guess, fear and fire and demons and the devil, it interests people. You see it in movies. We have movies called The Exorcist, and, in fact, there's tons of that type of show, or there's The Haunting of this house or whatever it may be. So it sells. So as long as it sells, people are going to keep talking about it. And if they keep talking about it, it keeps getting more and more and more ingrained into people's minds. Even though clergy and Christians in general are supposed to be considered set apart or countercultural, in the Western world, it's the exact opposite. We are totally ingrained in the culture, or the church is. The church will change their model of worship and services to match culture in the hopes that they can draw more people in. The music will change, the visual elements will change, right along with culture. So the church is not separate from it. Well, neither are the clergy members, right? They're a part of it too. So they may have learned of these things while they were young and going to church. They may have learned about it more as a traditional view once they were in seminary. But they also just know about it simply because it's around them like it is around everyone else. You may not see this in some other countries you may not see it Christians in Africa or Asia. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough, but I know it's very evident here that the church is completely ingrained into the Western culture. And so that affects the clergy as well. But I think sometimes they don't talk about it for that simple reason of they want to get people to come in. And if they don't talk about it, what is left? The only thing that is left is this cultural view. So it's going to be an assumption when people come in, well, my pastor never talked about it, so I guess it's still true. It's what we think of in this Western world. It's a true thing. I think it's very important that they at least speak of other views. And that's a sad thing that doesn't happen on a regular basis. I did not grow up in the church. There was various reasons why I wanted to kind of keep Christianity at arm's length. I found a lot of issues with it. One being trying to reconcile this all-loving God, a God that is love, and eternal conscious torment. Those two things just couldn't go hand in hand with me, so I kind of stayed away from it. So to continue teaching it is a deterrent to some people. Some people are just be like, I don't even want to hear that. But other people may be there, and if they hear the message of it, they may leave. They may think, well, this is an impossible task. I cannot be that perfect. I'm going to fail, and I'm going to burn in it. And the worst part of it all is it no longer becomes a faith-based religion. It becomes a fear-based one. So now people, well, I have to do this. I have to be good. I can't say that. I can't do that, or I'm going to burn in hell. Um, so it becomes too much. It becomes too much for people. So they'll just put blinders on and turn their head away and not listen to it anymore. And I think that is a major danger. The statistics show that church membership and attendance is on a decline in general. Some areas there might be an uptick, but in general, there in the Western world, there's a decline, and I think it's a big contributor. I think that thought process of hell is a big contributor. I think we should still teach it, but I think we should teach it in juxtaposition with other views. I think it should be taught that this is where this view came from, this eternal conscious. This is the evidence that led to this view, but here's this view and the evidence that led to it, and here's this view and the evidence that led to that. So I think it's important to teach all these different views and let people come to their own conclusion. Something that's similar is, at least in my area of the world, we will hear people say, we need to put Christ back into school. They want to have maybe teach some Christian principles in the public school system. And a lot of people will be, well, wait a minute, we can't do that. They can't teach that. You can't force that on my child. I think they should teach it, but I think they should also teach it alongside Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. Let people learn about these different cultures, these different beliefs, and take what they think is the right thing and live their lives. People will fear what they don't understand, so teach them so they don't fear it anymore. I think, especially to any congregant going to a member of clergy to ask and talk about these subjects, they should be open. The pastor should be open to that. A lot of them are not. They want to kind of just run and hide. They want to throw some verses at you and say, read this and your problems will be solved. Or they will make you so uncomfortable that you realize they don't want me to even ask those types of questions. Your goal should be to love people. So listening to them and understanding where they're coming from and try to talk about their views, offer your own, that's showing love. You're not teaching them that they're going to go burn in hell.